I want to take a moment to talk about the illusion of fantasy. Sometimes people build others up in their mind. They could be deeply attracted to someone, and it doesn't always correspond with reality. That's a big, deep problem, isn't it? And then, by extension, perhaps whatever's been built up, maybe there's an expectation that someone should live up to that fantasy when really it wasn't realistic in the beginning, was it? So how can someone live up to someone's idea of them when it may not be reality? It may not be true in the first place. I talk about recently a lot of signs I have in my life. It's getting quite intense, especially through social media. I get like synchronicities everywhere in my life, and I'm just scrolling. I just get fed up. I just keep moving, but it don't stop. It's almost like, do you know with Harry Potter when he keeps getting the letters keep piling in? You can't stop them piling in, no matter even if you try and like seal the letterbox, they keep coming. That's what it's like for me. It just don't stop. So even if I shut that avenue, it'll come another avenue, and it's just relentless. If it's not freaking tarot readers, it's music, and it'll always have the same message in it, And I'm like, this is just mental. But it's like the angles to it all, On the one, like I have an idea of said person. I get the letter all the time. It always says their letter. I tell you what I do get, but I'm not going to go diverting too far here. I always get the person who's your soulmate. This person's coming. This person's thinking of you. Blah blah blah. It's always the same letter. And then I always get someone in heaven who's like really proud of you. They've seen what you've been doing, and they're supporting you and cheering you. There's always the same letter for that as well. Always two letters I get. So I find that quite curious. Just to add to that, really. But the reality is, I've spoke about it very open, my journey. That's the thing. I don't say things for effect. I literally say what I mean. I don't differ here. I say exactly what I mean. That's the thing with people. They don't ever have to read between the lines and think, oh, I'm thinking he means something else. I don't mean shit. I mean what I say. Do you see what I mean? I said a while ago that I was on the verge of hyper independence, and I knew I was, and I was transparent about it. The reality is people can't choose a different life and then on a whim decide that life isn't for them. And now they've realized they should have chose a different path because life continually moves forward. So that isn't always available anymore, So although I get all these beautiful signs, and sometimes you think that I could see that happening. But when I'm realistic with it, though, it's like, how is that even practical? There's so many difficulties with it. And I know you'd argue when it comes to love, for instance, you overcome challenges to a degree. To a degree. I think some things are just that hard, that complicated, And overall, there's a concern like within myself. So I would literally turn someone down to save them, to be totally honest. I think that's perhaps a difference I have than other people, because a lot of people are just selfish. As long as they get what they want, they don't really care. I don't think like that. I'll think about like myself, but I'll also think of the other party. And by extension, that goes full circle back onto self, doesn't it? So for instance, if you think for a moment that maybe it wouldn't be what they expect it to be, well then that's a lot of hassle, isn't it? And I wouldn't want to upheaval someone's life potentially for up to say let's say in and out, and it's like it lasts for 3 years and then fizzles off. It's like, what's the point then? What's the point? I wouldn't want to put someone through that and delay their opportunity to find someone else. And it's like, now we've gone through this whole mirage of a thing that didn't work, and it was probably never going to work anyway. And then I'm back to square one as well. So like I say, that's what I was saying. It goes full circle there. I've said so many times, most people wouldn't be able to handle me. And I'm not trying to say like I'm this freaking what does they call it? Bucking Bronto thing. I don't know what you call it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not trying to say that. I'm saying I'm very stuck in my ways at times. And the average, I think personally, some people would consider my lifestyle boring. To me, I'm satisfied. To me, I'm good. I've got plans for my future. I've got goals I set. But that's because I see the vision. That's because I'm investing in myself. So like people have romanticized that. Like maybe they see you doing something and they think, oh, I'd love to be a part of that. To someone else, it's going to be boring as shit. Like if look, you might see, for instance, this is what I'm talking about. Like, let's say I do my books, and you see what I've accomplished with the books, and you think, oh, that's incredible. Like, I'm so proud of them. Like, that's so attractive. You might consider that attractive. You might think that's really inspiring. But now think of the process to create that. It's very solitary. So what would it's like you can't create that if you're always being pulled everywhere else. So let's say someone's insecure, constantly need validation, constantly need attention. Well, that's beautiful for them, by all means, everybody has their lifestyle choices. I am very independent. I do like obviously have the right company, absolutely, and I do support people. But if someone was insecure in themselves, or they can't find hobbies, or they got nothing they know that truly interests them, the real problem is they then derail your progress because you've got to now invest all your time towards them because otherwise they feel left out. So then that would mean I have to stop creating what I do, and the progress I've made then gets stifled. Well, how does that serve me? And again, it's that is selfish in itself. But I'm already on this path now. I've already ventured down this road where that I'm more than content with just being on my own. I'm content with this just being my life, and it's boring. It'll be boring as shit to the wrong people. But to me, it's satisfying. I'm more focused on. I guess a bit eccentric if you think of it that way. Where you got these scientists that have created things in the past. They're all a bit eccentric, weren't they? And I'm leaving like my own legacy, and that's very unique to me. I kind of like dedicated my time towards that now, and because I've already started that venture, it inspires me. I'm proud of it, and I can see the goal. And like the goal for me is to help other people heal, is to help other people shine, uplift themselves, like literally do it from within themselves. So that doesn't come with like a monetary value to it. It doesn't come with a popularity contest. It's irrelevant. All that is just so irrelevant to me now. It's just I just want to be able to do what I'm supposed to do with my life, and I'll make peace with that. Was my, it's like a level of personal sacrifice that comes from it. But that's what I've set. That's the path I've set for myself, and like, I was very clear throughout. I always said that I was very close to hyper independence. I weren't quite there yet, but I was very close to the threshold. And if anyone was genuinely interested in me, like romantically or for whatever, it's like that was the time. You can't just leave it and leave it and leave it and then expect people to be ready or they want to live the same lifestyle you want. Time moves forward. That's why I keep scrolling the messages because like the signs I get, I'm like, I don't know if it's for me anymore. A big part of me, of course, would love it, but then the other part is like, how is it practical? I'm not going to sort of pick apart and say who the person is. I think they would know themselves. But just the signs have got that heavy. I just thought I'd address it a little bit here because this is what I'm talking about. Like, how can you live up to someone else's fantasy of you? Yeah, do you know what I mean? Like, I can articulate a conversation. I can have deep introspective thoughts. I can document what I want in any way I want, whether it's audio, video, or written word. I can do that. I'm multifaceted. I'm a good communicator, so I have my strengths. But everybody also has their weaknesses, and it's like really hard to find an absolute balance between, I think, career, personal growth, personal goals, and family life, romance, finances, travel. It's if you had a pie chart and you had a little chart, and it'd be really hard to have every single metric evenly spaced out. I don't think anyone has it. I don't think anyone has that really blended perfectly, where you've got enough space for everything. Something will always get lost, or someone, there'll be an area that's lacking, and I don't know. But like I say, one of my biggest concerns is that people then have this romanticized fantasy of you that me personally, I don't think for the moment I would be able to live up to most people's, to be honest. So, I don't think I could, and I wouldn't really dream of trying. If I'm being totally honest, it's just I'm just me. I wouldn't want to have any extra weight on my shoulders entering a situation. It's more like I am who I am. I'm not going to sit here and try that little bit harder all the time because it's just stupid. It's like I always find that. I always find that, especially in relationships, a lot of time you have to give more than um, is natural, and you end up adapting so much that you lose the spark, that made you interesting in the first place, you know? And like I say, I think for the average person, I'm going to be incredibly boring. I truly am. You know, I am. I have like this. I'm quite. I think I'm quite an interesting character, to be totally honest, because I can be the life of the party. I can be incredibly sociable around people I enjoy the company of. So I can be really talkative, and I can be genuinely interested, and I can have really deep conversations. I can have some silly drama. You know, I'm good with people. I'm also equally, which surprises most people when they see me like that, I'm equally comfortable on my own. But the thing about me is the more I'm on my own, the more I get comfortable with it. So then I don't even crave the attention of other people, you know? And that's the part that I think people would find boring because I can go months literally, and I'm not saying that to dramatize anything. I literally can. I mean, my daughter jokes about it. We have laughs. We actually laugh about it. She knows, obviously, she's freaking 15 years old. You know, she's seen 15 years of me. You know, she knows what I'm like. And again, I don't sugarcoat shit. I don't want someone to think better of me than I am. You know, I've never wanted that. Yes, I'm boring. Yeah, I'm boring. I can be whimsical and absolutely completely off my racket sometimes, you know, in the sense that I can literally be dancing around the kitchen randomly. I'll just be enjoying myself, you know. I can just have my headphones on, just My daughter thinks I'm really strange a lot of the time. Like she just finds it funny though. She's like, wow, like, you know, I don't care. I'll even do random stuff in public. I just don't care about people's reactions to me, you know. But there's another side that's quite boring. Like, for instance, to put it in context here, because this is what I'm saying. I try to push myself a little bit more outside the comfort zone and not be so rigid, but I'm quite a rigid person in that sense. Like, let's say, for instance, she's with me on holidays and she stays up all night. She'll stay up crazy times. So I can be late, but she can be even later than me. She might not wake up until freaking like gone lunch. You know, I give her the freedom to be herself. I'm not here to dictate, you know. I mean, some people say, oh, no, it's like, parent how you feel is appropriate. I want my daughter to have autonomy of her life. So I want her to have her independence because it's something that I feel strongly about within my own life. If we've got an appointment to something, yes, you know, be available, be ready. Don't delay this. Don't cause issues. But overall, I like her to have her autonomy on her life within reason, of course. So yeah, like for instance, let's say she gets up later. By the time she's got herself all ready or settled, and then she'll. I'm not a late evening sort of person. I don't do it. Once it's dark, it's dark. I don't bother in the dark. My body just shuts down. It's just the way I just literally shut down. So winter is my worst time because it just feels like I wake up and it's freaking dark again. It's just shit. It's depressing. But that's the day job. The day goes when it's like that. So even in the summer though, like it could be like 4 p.m. and she'll say, "Can we go shops? Can we go shopping? Like, town and do all this?" It's like, no. But she knows it, you know. She's like, "Oh, you ain't gonna go, are you?" Like I said, "No, you ain't got a chance in hell." No, I am not. That will be for tomorrow now if you get up in time. You know, and that's what I'm like. You know, that's what I said. To someone who likes the nightlife, I'm your worst nightmare. It's just not me. I don't do the nightlife. Don't like it. It's full of drama. It's like all the worst sort of sides of humanity comes out at night. And I just get cozy. So I'm cozy. Why would I get myself out of a cozy environment where I feel settled and ready to enjoy the rest of the evening and settle down to then put myself into the worst state of humanity? You know, I don't get it. I don't see the fascination with it. But anyway, you know, even if it's early afternoon, though, it's like, no, I'm not really in the mood now. Sometimes I might make an exception for her because, you know, I don't want her to be miserable, but I am stubborn as well, though, because my point is, if you'd been available, if you'd been ready in the morning, I could have took you then. So it's like you can sit there and say that, you know, I'm a pain, it's not fair, you know, and try and put on a sulky face. But at the same time, like, I'm thinking to myself, well, it's your fault. If you really wanted to do that, you should have been available, and then we could have gone. Do you know what I mean? So that's my daughter, who, you know, I love more than anyone on the planet. So I think personally, the idea that you could be in a romantic relationship with someone and they expect more of me than I already do for my daughter, it's like, that's not likely to happen. Like, genuinely not likely to happen, no matter how much someone nags. If anything, someone keep nagging is just going to piss me off. Do you know what I mean? It's like, if I don't like explaining myself over and over again. I don't want to do that. So if I say something and I've made it as clear as I can, and then someone just keeps nagging, it's like that's just like driving a fork into your freaking eye, you know? It's like I don't need this shit. Do you know what I mean? It's like, but then that's what I'm saying. I would rather just preempt it and just draw the line and just say, look, I'm not that much fun. Yeah, I can be fun, but I can be incredibly boring. You know, because I'm a homebody. I like to be at home. Sometimes it does take a push to get me out, but then when I am out, I do enjoy myself, and I do like to go on holiday, and I do like to travel. I do like road trips. So the sides to me that are fun, but it's also a very boring side too. So I wouldn't want to over glamorize myself and make it look like, oh my god, like he's so attractive or this and that. It's like I'm not. For the average person, I am your worst nightmare, like genuinely. And I'm not saying that just to put people off. It's like I'm just being absolutely honest. You know, people hear the way I am and they think, well, I couldn't be with that. It's like, that's what I'm talking about. That's exactly what I'm saying. It's like, well, let's not pretend. You know, it's like I'm not here to try to attract the world. You know, I just want to help people be themselves. Live your life on your terms. Live your life how you want to live. You know, but you don't have to be attracted to people to do those things. You know, I'm not. That's what I'm saying. I'm not looking for a posse. I'm not looking for loads of people to sort of like throw their arms at me. If anything, I do everything I can to keep it away. I don't want that attention. You know. I've like I said, I've already declared that a long time ago. The hyper independence was kicking in, and I think personally, I'm firmly in it. And the reason I say I'm firmly in it, I haven't really been out. I'll put it into context. Let's be as transparent as we can here. I don't like winter. My daughter loves the autumn. It's strange because my favourite season's spring. I think spring's when life comes back, you know, and it makes me feel so happy. You know, and it's not like overwhelmingly hot, so you get this like little bit of change in weather dynamics. But I really do like it. I love spring. But she likes autumn when the leaves are falling off. But I get it because it looks nice, but it just gets too cold. It's when the cold kicks in and the nights get it gets darker earlier, and then so when like in the summer I'm a bit more easygoing. I think once the winter comes in, especially autumn, so from about mid-September ish, I won't go out much at all if I don't have to. So, like, obviously, if you've got a job, you go to the job and then you come home. That'll be the extent of my life. If I haven't got a job because I've took time out to do my books, projects, because I don't make excuses for that shit. I don't act like, oh, my life's perfect. I've got all this. If I'll take risks with my life because my life isn't all about being a robot. I don't live the minion life that everybody else lives by. You know, I don't think you should have to live from the moment. Again, put in context. When my daughter finishes school, I don't care what she does. Like not encouraging her to be lazy or anything like that because she's not going to be like that anyway. It's not her personality. But I don't believe, for instance, that if she wants to go college, go college. If you want to get a job, get a job. If you don't, I'm perfectly fine with you not doing anything for a year or so. It's your life. Because I just think school is so intense that I just think it's stupid that you go from school, this intense period of your life, you don't even get a moment to breathe, to be yourself. You've got all this homework, all this pressure. You barely get relaxed. And then you get thrust either into a job or college and you've got the same pressures again. And then even if you go to college, then what happens when you come out of college? You're working for the rest of your life. When do you truly get a rest? I think a lot different to the average person. So I'm very much out of the box. So I will take myself out of pressurized situations and situations that I think are toxic to give myself grace. And that'll annoy people who don't allow that for themselves, and they'll question and judge me for it. And it's like, mate, you don't have an influence on my life, though. I do what I want for me. Like, I'll do it on my terms. Yes, I lose this to have that. But for me, that's healthy. Do you see? But other people won't see it as healthy. They would have to try to validate their misery as to the reason why it's impossible to live like that. And it's like, but I do. I do. So what I'm saying is, let's say I haven't got a job in that period. Then it's like, for instance, I've been out of work for a while. I did have a bad back for a bit as well. And, you know, nothing's really working out. And it gets so cold. Like, I don't like the cold. Genuinely, I can't handle it. But, I keep my options open. So it's not like I haven't looked for things. But reality is, let's say I haven't really been out. I had to travel back and forth to my mum's, which is in my hometown. Back through August, September, I had appointments for things. I think I had dentist and I had some other stuff. I can't remember what the appointments were now. But anyway, come home. The extent of me going out, I kid you not, literally, because I get groceries delivered nowadays because that's awesome. If my daughter's with me, I like to go shops and stuff. On my own, I just can't even be asked. I just get comfortable. So the extent of me going out is putting the bin out. I kid you not. And my daughter laughs about it. We laugh about it for ages because I'm like, you ain't been out in months. I go, I don't think I have. I don't think I have. No, I don't need to. The only time I go out at the moment, because I don't like the cold. I don't like it getting dark early. It's just shit. And I'm comfortable. I've got projects. I've got things I'm doing. It's not like I'm just sitting around waiting for the seasons to change. I'm busy creating, and creating. You don't need to be outside to create. So yeah, like was it yesterday? I had to do. People. Anyone that drives knows this. I was laughing with my mum on the phone. We all laugh about things, and it's like she knows exactly what I'm like. Opposite to her in that sense. She likes to be out and about, and she always likes going out. I'd like to be in. So I said to her, I said I've got to take the car out at some point soon because the battery will die. Because I haven't been in the car for like a few weeks, and it's like the battery's going to die soon. I said it's like a pet. You've got to take the damn dog for a walk, or you've got to do this shit. I've got to do it for the car. I've literally got to take the car out for a drive for the car. It's not for me. I don't need to. Do you know what I mean? So I had to literally I had to drive the car for about half an hour, 40 minutes, whatever I did. I think it was like 20 odd miles. I was just driving all around town. I was just driving all over the place, finding fast roads, normal roads. I was just like, how far do you need to go, mate? How far do you need before I can go back home? That's all it was. It was like literally just drive for the car, using the fuel because the battery needs to charge. I mean, it's nice to get out, and it got me out for a bit, but that was literally all I was doing. And we're in December, coming up to December now. In a couple of weeks, I'll probably have to do the same thing again. I think it might be a push to wait till Christmas. Do you see what I mean? Like that's what I'm like. And I wouldn't want to make someone miserable. So if someone really, really does like be out and about and doing all those things and different all year round, like I'm your worst nightmare when it comes to the cold seasons. I go in cozy mode. I'm like a bear. Think of it like a bear. I hibernate. I've always done it. I never when I was younger, I never recognized like the seasons I did it. So sometimes people would accuse me of not wanting to go out and they think it's boring, but it's like, I always thought that's not right though, because I do like to go out. I always, back in when I was younger, football, soccer, I'd go into town, I'd, hang out with friends. You still do things, but I just, over time, I started to realize that it's only like over the past few years, not really like earlier in life I didn't notice. Only over the past few years I realized it's the cold weather seasons. Yeah, I hibernate. So you just won't see me. But when the spring comes, so between spring and summer, so all the way from about March, April till August, September. I'm out and about. I like the daylight. But when the cold weather comes in for about 4 months a year, I'm hibernating. So like I say, that to the right do you know what I mean? I just don't want to glamorize shit. I don't want to put that. That puts extra pressure on me. It creates a delusional fantasy for someone else, and then someone picks you because they want I don't know, they want an illusion, a force, an illusion of you, and then they've got to try to work to sculpt you and change you and make you adapt to the way they want you to be. It's like, go and play with someone else. It's easier to play with someone else. That's just the reality. I don't make no bones about it. I'm good. Look, I think that's the difference. I think some people have an expectation of their life. And like I said, it's really hard to get that chart, that pie chart, to get it to be perfect, So, like, I'm quite peaceful. Things missing in my life, really, money. Like, I could do with just an increase in finances. I think I've worked hard enough to get that. I'm not going to harp on about it here, but that's really what's missing. And okay, it would be nice to have a companion that truly understands you. But I just think, personally, it's almost impossible. So I kind of make peace with that to a degree. I think in the future, so you never know if things pick up that I create, but I'm more than happy to be in the spotlight on my own. I'm comfortable. I would be more than comfortable traveling on my own and stuff as well. I don't need people. I'm not saying that would be horrible. Like, but I wouldn't. What it is, I wouldn't want someone to give up who they are to be with me. I'm like this, but I don't think other people are. I wouldn't want to make someone miserable because they're like holding them. I mean? In the same way, I wouldn't want someone to try to sculpt me into what they want me to be, but I wouldn't want to sculpt someone into what I am. I mean, I don't control people though. So if I'm in a relationship, that person can do what the hell they want. Obviously, within reason. Don't go if you cheat, it's over immediately. At least have the decency to end it before you do something like that, because that's just quite disgusting for me personally, I think. But aside from that, do what the hell you want. If I don't want to go somewhere, and let's say it's a Saturday, you want to go somewhere, and I really don't want to do it, you're more than welcome to do it. If you've got friends, go and hang out with your friends. I don't do that. I don't expect someone to be my pet. And it doesn't mean I don't make compromises. So it's not like I'm like this rigid, but it's just an understanding that, I can be quite stuck in my ways. And I think if you're expecting me to be the life of the party all year round, I'm going to disappoint you like shit. But again, I think this is where maybe some people will find my transparency refreshing, because so many people are just fake as shit. They'll paint this thing. You go on a date and they'll act like they're perfect because everyone wants to wear the perfect mask. And it's only through deeper into the relationship you find out that this ain't all the fairy tales and rainbows. I often think the best time you're going to learn something from someone is when things are getting hard, when there's a challenge, something to test you. That's when you find people's character. You're not going to find people's character really when it's going great. What is there to go wrong, really? Do you know what I mean? So if anything, I like to get to it quicker. So rather than wait for it, I'd rather just paint the picture already for you, and then you can look at it and go, well, "That's not really attractive at all," and it'd be like, I don't think it is either. I don't think it is either. Like, I'm all right in my bubble. That's the difference, though. Like, I've got if you talk about just my daily life, I'll spend time creating. Like, I'll do my videos when I've got an idea. I'll do videos here. I'll do my gaming content because I'm playing video games anyway. I'll do that. I've got so many films to watch. I've got a massive physical media collection I've shared previously. Like, there's so many Blu-rays and DVDs, and I've even collected VHS tapes. And then I've got vinyl records. I've got cassette tapes. I've got CDs. If you're talking about media, entertainment, I'm covered for the rest of my life. I could repeat the whole cycle of it. I've got I don't even know how many Blu-rays and DVDs I've got. It's crazy. Then you've got digital copies I have on storefronts like Amazon Prime. I've actually bought the films. Then you've got the subscriptions. So if we're talking about if I was just to sit there on the sofa and watch content, I could do that. I could do that. That's fine to me. Then I've got my gaming, and there's an endless amount of games. So mix them two together. There's not really a reason to be bored. Then I have loads of books to carry on reading. I've got loads of books to do that. Then I've got other things I want to research, like history and mythology. These are things that really interest me, and I'm really going to delve into that over the next few years. So now we've got that in the mix. Then you got the music. It's like there's never enough hours in a day just for these things. And then on top of that, like I said, I'm creating the content like I do here. I'm doing the gaming content because I enjoy doing that, and I've got other ideas for a different channel that I'm thinking of creating. So I've got things to do there. I still got to update my website, and one day maybe I'll branch out to create another website of different topics, because there's always the potential. I'm quite a creative individual. And then on top of all that, I still have my books to do. And by extension, once a book's done, perhaps I do the audiobook. I'm not sure if I'm always going to do audiobooks because I'm not seeing the benefit of them at the moment. It's another hassle. But if we're talking about the things we like to do at home, I don't really have the capacity to be bored. If anything, I'm just always exhausted because I don't rest enough. And that's all on my own. But I've probably painted it even worse than it is, to be totally honest, because when my daughter is home, we do have a lot of fun. She gravitates to me. She doesn't really like to leave my side. She has fun when she goes up to her bedroom at night, and she'll have FaceTimes with her friends, and there'll all be a massive group of laughing their heads off, talking all night and crazy shit, and it's that's really nice. And she'll do it throughout the day as well. But for the most part, we're together, we're laughing, we'll watch TV together, play video games, even play we love Monopoly's our game, so we play Monopoly, and I will take her places. We go cinema. She wants to go cinema. She likes Starbucks. There's a certain drink she likes there, a chocolate drink. So I know to get her that. You know, she loves McDonald's, so let's get a McDonald's. Certain shops she likes to go to, so we pop into those shops. You know, I like taking her to the beach. So look, maybe I'm just boring on my own. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe I'm stuck in my own ways while I'm alone. That a different side of me comes out when my daughter's with me. And then maybe if I was in a relationship, a different side would come out again. But I can't guarantee it. And like, I don't know. I'm probably trying to self-sabotage on purpose, to be totally honest, to keep away people who are going to disrupt my life. I think that's part of it as well, because it's like a trust issue. I always expect people to leave. But then again, it's like, but again, I've just explained to what I'm like, and I don't want to give the impression that it's any more exciting than it is. So if someone, again, I don't want someone building up a fantasy of me that is not even realistic. It's like, I'm not trying to be that. I'm just not trying to be that at all. So yeah, I mean, it's like even if I was wealthy and like if you was famous and wealthy one day, I'll probably be one of the most boring famous people you're ever going to monitor. If it was, you know, I'd want to go on holidays. I'd probably travel a lot more than I do, but I would want a nice home because that's where I'm going to spend most of my time, and that's literally it. Do you know? I mean, I don't know. I don't think, you know. You wouldn't see me going to parties. You wouldn't see me going to clubs. You wouldn't see me hobnobbing with all the freaking influencers, celebrities, wealthy people. I mean, maybe they want to meet, maybe they want to meet you, and maybe there's times when you are with them because you're somewhere, but it's not something I would choose to do, you know. So yeah, like I said, I keep to myself. I like my company. I like my company, but I also like the simple interests that I enjoy. That I enjoy. So I don't need a lot beyond what I already have to entertain myself. So I'm not desperate. If you think about it that way, if people see my content and you hear the things I say, I mean, maybe it becomes a bit more obvious as to why I'm not desperate for the things other people crave. You know, someone else wants to be rich and things. They want to be rich and famous, for instance, and it's like everything to them. But why do you want to be rich and famous? Like when you think about it, to be fame means to be put in a spotlight, to have the center of attention. I don't crave the center of attention. You know, what would be so interested about me being the center of attention when I'm just doing boring shit? You know, so to be the center of attention, you're expecting someone to be flamboyant, to be like life of the party all the time, to play a character. I don't want to play a character. So that idea of fame is just not even of interest. And then when you think about, like, if you had all the money in the world, what am I going to do with that? Go to Vegas and act like a prat? You know, what am I supposed to do? Go and buy a Lamborghini and be a moron just because it looks cool and I want to stand by the side of it and try and act like I'm something? Yeah, I'm something. I don't care about being something. I'm quite modest and simple. You know, it's like, oh, good, man. I built my computer that I have, and it's powerful, and I can just enjoy all the latest games, and it looks incredible. I can sit on my sofa and just enjoy like incredible films because I've got a massive library. I've got a connoisseur of movies. I can enjoy my music. I can put my headphones on and shit. I've obviously got the speakers, but I don't like to cause havoc to the neighbours. So I'm more than happy wearing headphones. I have what I need. So it's like, when I say, you know, I can't be bought and all those things, what would me selling out do for me anyway? You know what I mean? Like, what would it do? It's not to say I wouldn't want luxury in the future and I wouldn't want nice things and have these other experiences, but I'm not someone that would be flamboyant. It's like, when you think of flamboyance, think of, do you know Dumb and Dumber? When they go, I don't know if people remember Dumb and Dumber, but you go Dumb and Dumber and they go to the event and they've been wasting all this cash that they found in this suitcase, briefcase. And they both turned up with these stupid costumes. I remember one of them was just orange and they had top hats. And I think they had a cane as well. And it was just the most stupid shit, because this is what people do when they have too much wealth. They don't really know what to do with themselves. Then they become someone they're not entirely. And literally they fail to find satisfaction in the most basic of things. So everything's always got to be grander and grander and grander. So I think just life loses meaning to an extent. They just fail to find anything interesting. So they've always got to go that extra mile all the time. And then again, I think it's about, then they got to show up because people are watching. I'd rather people just think of me as quite someone of solitude, perhaps substance, and you could say boring. It'd be boring to those who don't truly know me because they've seen a side, and I'm happy for them to have that side. The spark that's in me and the whimsy, that bit of eccentricity, that really only comes out for those I trust and love. So, like, my daughter gets a very special side of me that the average person doesn't get to see, you know? Anyway. Anyway, I'm not going to go any further, really waffling on here. It does get a bit weird because I'm not used to attention too much, like, personally, so I don't really care for it. But, like, for instance, if I'm on a FaceTime call with my daughter, she'll say, "Oh, my," she's have her friends on her call as well, and they say, "Oh, my friends absolutely love you. Oh, they're gonna be well excited." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" I go, "How can they love me? They don't even know me." They go, "Yeah, they do. They know who you are." Um, and apparently their friends just really, really like me or something. I don't really know why, and I'm thinking this is weird. Like, I'm not you, I don't really know what that means. Um, I don't know. I'm just comfortable in my own little bubble, and like I said, I wouldn't, as much as I wouldn't want to disrupt my life, I wouldn't want to disrupt someone else's. I'm gonna look. You know what? I'm gonna put it out there. I'm not gonna say the person's name, and it could be completely wrong anyway. I ain't reaching out. That's for sure. I'm not gonna go details of the relationship, of the not relationship, the connection, and where it failed. Was never a relationship. It had the potential to be. I'm not gonna go deeper than that with that. But what I would argue now is they have a child. They didn't have a child when we was talking, and they live in a different country. So from those issues, and it's nothing personal against anyone having a child. Even if the situation's uncomfortable, how the situation came to be, I would never hold anything against the child. I wouldn't have, I wouldn't think of them any less. I treat them the same way you would anyway. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not, but I wouldn't want to be a disruption to their life. I think it's quite precious, and I wouldn't want to be a burden on them. So, although there's things that maybe could have happened or didn't happen, and maybe there's a slight animosity towards that in some way, but then sometimes you want to make peace with it. But then other sides, it's so confusing. But at the same time, do I want to be a parent all over again to a very young child when my daughter's 15 now and I've been through it all? And it's just like, I'm settling more into my life now, a little bit more of a boring state, but I'm good with it. The distance is really, really too difficult. Like, for instance, okay, they're in America. I've already declared I'm now going to America while Trump's there. It's just a fascist state. I'm not doing it. It's risky for anyone traveling there. It doesn't matter what country you're from. It's just, yeah, I'm not even going to go within it. So for them to come here, I think that's incredibly risky anyway. Like, well, like, if you'd have to bring your child we've never even met before, I wouldn't want someone to take such a risk. Leave your child behind. Would you really feel comfortable leaving your child behind while you visit? And then, there's so many nuances to it. I just think it's really complicated. And then even if I'm a practical individual, I saw recently someone's TikTok video, and it was a woman who was married to a British man, and they were both having to go to live back in America. I think it was both. I'm not sure if it was just her going back to America with her child, but she couldn't afford. They couldn't afford the new visa fees. So for her to she'd already been in the UK for a while, but to renew it was going to cost £6,000 because I don't think people realise this. To get a spouse visa and things, you have to pay the NHS surcharge up front. So let's say you're going to get a visa for 3 years. You need to pay a surcharge. I think it's like £1,500 a year. You have to pay the surcharge for the NHS, the equivalent really of healthcare, like you would have in America, really health insurance, but it's mandatory. So you have to pay it up front, and then obviously the visa fees and whatever else is included. So there's no getting away from that. So it probably costs more to live, to relocate and get a visa in the UK than it does in America, quite prohibitively. I don't have the resources to help with that. It's just impossible. Do you know what I mean? So there's so many angles where even just the idea of even thinking about trying to make something work, it just couldn't. Practically, it doesn't work, and there's no guarantee it would anyway. And I wouldn't want to cause such a disruption to someone's life. Yeah, I'm not going to say who they are, but we did talk earlier in the year. It was a bit flat because I just felt you can't talk because they were in a relationship. Like, they weren't when we initially talked. Then they're in a relationship and they've got a child. And I'm thinking this isn't really appropriate anymore. Like, it just doesn't feel right. So from all accounts, it wasn't going well at their end, but it's like, that's not my business. I just thought I'm not getting in the middle of this. It's not for me. Do you know what I mean? The whole dynamics shifted when you've got a child as well. It's just because that I'm not getting in between a father and a child. I just thought you'd be best served for me to back up to leave the situation entirely, and that's kind of how I said it. I said I had to leave the situation because I thought I'd update them. I didn't just leave because retribution or anything. It was more like I just want I just want to leave you the space to now live your life. So that's why it gets a bit confusing now that I'm getting a lot of signs that they're potentially in their head about me and things, and I'm thinking, I think that time's passed. Like, I think we've had that moment was that we had that opportunity at a certain period of our timelines of our life, and even if we're meant to be in this lifetime, I just don't see how it can. Like, realistically, it doesn't make sense to me. It genuinely doesn't make sense. I just don't understand the practicalities of it. How the hell would you relocate with a child? Because we both got children now. Obviously, mine's a bit older, but I'm not leaving her. So it's just that's what that is. So how did that work? I wouldn't condone someone removing a parent from their life, and obviously if they're not, depends what they're like. If they're not like a decent role model, but then it's not for me to suggest either way with that. It's none of my business. But how would that even work? You can't live two different countries. It's just not practical. And I'm not in a privileged position to contribute towards a visa fee. My daughter hasn't even finished high school yet, so I don't know what her plans are for the future, but she's a big part of my life. Anyway, this is a huge, probably a pointless video, really. But if anything, it's me just trying to keep people away from me. I think personally, it's just easier that way.